Good morning. Good morning. What a day. It's a Monday. My case of the Mondays probably looks different than most. I get so excited about Monday morning. Good morning, Eddie. Hello, my brother Marcus. I am jumping on the Peloton right now, and I cannot wait to share with you what God has laid on my heart and just been revealing to me this morning when it comes to the arts. Marcus, this is going to meet you so directly because it's about music and artwork and poetry and the ability to show up in the giftings and talents that God has given us. And so, hey Rodney, how are you, brother? I started this thing last week and it's kind of become something I cannot wait to do in the morning. And I figured if I'm going to do something, I better well do it in excellence, right? And so I spent the weekend setting up a Peloton and Preach section in my house that has a ring light, that has 2 phones, Marcus. I'm getting my tech gear on this morning, and allows me, regardless of what the Peloton screen is doing, to be lit up for you guys and in a better position rather than where I was before and I thought my phone was going to fall off. So I'm super excited. Marcus, I'm going to bring you up to stage, brother. You're always welcome. Everybody is always welcome. Eddie, come on up if you want. I am going to be just sharing my heart this morning, but at any point, feel free. This is an open conversation and I love to talk back with you. So how fun. So Peloton has not been my modality of exercising, but God has shown up in a really amazing way. What's up, brother? Hi, Ryan. And I just want to share with you. And I don't want to get distracted by all the tech because when I was coming on last week and there was no ring light and I had all the people live with me, I was staying on pace, which is really important to me. I was positioned to be used however God wanted me to be. I have seen some and heard some amazing testimonies simply by my showing up and sharing what God's doing in my life, what he's speaking to me. And, oftentimes God's speaking to you, not for you, but for other people. And if you use your voice, if you use your platform, if you use your connections, if you use your community, if you show up on a Monday, motivated and excited, you can be a conduit. And that's hopefully how I'll be here. And so I am making a personal commitment to myself. And through that personal commitment, I hope it just encourages you to be consistent and show up in something that you feel drawn to, whatever that something is. So this morning, I woke up earlier than normal. It was a 3:15 wake up today. And I was like, no. And then I just laid there and I was reflecting on the experience I had last night with my daughter. We started a business for her. She started her business. She said yes to a business. And we did Color Street nails last night live. It was her first live party ever. It was the cutest thing ever. And afterwards is really the part that I want to take note of this morning in parallel to the arts. And it was with my son who all the lights were off and he wanted to come over and get on the mic and play with the Roadcaster. He's a comedian. He is a showman. He's all these things, but it's been so interesting. Since he was little, he does not do well on stage. And I would be so curious, Marcus, we'll have to talk about this at some point. Ever since he was in preschool, he would go to do like his preschool plays or Christmas recitals or whatever. And off stage and in small environments, the kid is a superstar. On stage with a lot of people, he cannot get it together. He freezes. My daughter, who with a couple people is like really quiet and reserved and analytical. We don't like to call her shy. That's a message for someone today. Don't speak words of deprecation over your personality. You are created uniquely and designed to be just as you are. Every component of who you are is beautiful and intentional. Michelle, what's up, sister? Coming on the Clubhouse. I'm Peloton and Preaching on Instagram if you want to see me live. Glad to have you. But I'm talking about Cooper. And Cooper, so interesting that then when Waverly, who is better at being with, a large group of people, as she was live, like didn't think about nerves at all. She was like, I'm good, I got this. so interesting, right? I don't understand it. Maybe somebody has some knowledge, but same, I guess, with me. My husband's really, really good one-on-one, but if I put a mic in front of him at Grow for God, he would say absolutely not. But he'll stand on stage with me without a mic. And yet at one-to-one, he's just, oh my gosh, but I really like people anyway. So I'm excited about that. But he comes over, my son comes over after the lights are off, and he's playing with the sound and has the headphones on and making us laugh. And so I'm like, want to go live? And he's like, no. He kind of fled away from it. And I'm processing and then also wondering, do I push him? Right? When you see a talent in someone else, when you see greatness in someone else, my heart for people through everything that I do is to propel them and to push them and to put them in the right position, especially when they outcast themselves from that place. And this morning, in the book that I've been referring to you guys all week, the 7 Mountain Prophecy, the Elijah Revolution, they were talking all about the mountain of the Hivites. And if you don't know what that means, it's okay. I didn't either. We're learning about the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Canaanites and all these different people. But essentially, to make it easy, we're talking about the mountain of celebration. And the mountain of celebration includes the arts. It includes music. It includes entertainment. It includes fashion. I got to speed it up over here. I'm not going to hit my goal. Okay, here we go. And all things I love, all things that I feel God's presence in so many amazing ways. And the world, essentially, the Hivites, who are distractors and are enemies, they're enemies that are considered, what do they call them? Occupiers. They're villagers, enemy villagers who are occupying a life-giving place. So what does this mean to you and me? What does it mean in parallel to my sweet son who's still exploring his gifting, and my sweet daughter who is standing in a gifting already, and my son is too in his own unique way, which I love. What does this mean? It means this territory that's supposed to be filled with joy and goodness and grace, we know because of culture, is legitimately destroying not only our youth, but ourselves. And so the biggest thing that I found in the midst of my development and exploration as a new Christian, and I say new, someone who finally surrendered and has a relationship with Christ now, understands Christianity, understands Calvary, understands, and yet still exploring, always exploring, because there's a lot more that I don't understand. But I had to really secure this mountain in my life. And so if this concept is that there are 7 mountains that the enemy owns, and our intent is to get to the top, for God to actually, in my perspective, I believe he's going to pluck us up and put us on top versus having to ascend the really hard way. And if we are walking up, it's with a light burden and an easy yoke as promised in the Bible. And so what does that mean? For me, I had to close it all off. When it came to this mountain of celebration, when it came to music, when it came to art, when it came to fashion, when it came to sound, when it came to TV. TV is connected to media, but I believe theater and movies are connected to the celebration. So entertainment, when it comes to anything like that, I literally had to strip from my life. And that sounds pretty harsh. That might, to you, sound unnecessary. It might sound prude, whatever word you want to use, but it's super necessary. Hold a mic. It's hard for me, but if I have a mic... Oh, sorry, Kelly. I thought you were saying you couldn't hear me. Yeah, how interesting, isn't it? Sorry for the distraction. I wanted to make sure I got to your comment before it went up into the newsfeed. So I got rid of all these things. And how did I do it? And why did I do it? I felt a deep conviction in my spirit that the things I was listening to were affecting my actions. I felt a deep conviction in my spirit that the shows I was watching, things like The Bachelorette and The Bachelor, it's just mindless TV, right? It's not mindless TV if you're putting your mind to it. It's not mindless music if your mind is being infiltrated by it. It's not mindless fashion if your clothes are actually affecting other people's mentalities or spirits. It's not mindless at all. And it shouldn't be mindless to you. And so I started one by one removing these things pretty quickly because I felt like I had no choice. I felt like I was completely lost and I had no understanding of my identity, and the entire world was telling me who I am. And this is a part of the point I want to make for you today. The question I want to probe in your spirit as you go into your Monday. Are you an influencer? Are you an influencee? Are you an influencer? Do you influence your territory and surroundings? Or are you influenced by them? If you're the influencee, you're constantly, oh man, here we go, picking up the pace on the Peloton over here. Woo! Breathe with me, people. I'm going to turn this thing upside down so you can hear me a little bit better. This is so critical. I was being influenced in every realm of life. Everything around me was affecting my mind, my heart, my spirit, my body, my actions. I was completely out of control, and it was completely my fault, right? I was in control of my own body, of my own mind, and yet I was like a puppet. It's a perfect analogy. I was a puppet, and the world, the mountain of entertainment, became the puppeteer for me. So much so that my actions in regards to business, my actions in regards to my creativity, my actions in regards to my marriage, my motherhood, everything was tainted. Everything was tainted. And I was reading this book, and it's talking to me about the joy. And if you know anything about me, you know joy is my sweet spot. It's a place I love to stay. It's a place I love to breathe into. It's a place I yearn for. It's a place I want other people to experience. And I feel like joy can only be experienced when you've been released from the space, when you've been released from the control of the influence, when you've been unshackled by the territory that is truly deceitful. It sounds, when I say it out loud, some of these things, it sounds crazy. And there can be judgment associated to that. But I never want anybody to look at me and wonder how. How does she get there? Why does she believe that? Why does her marriage look like that? Why does her life look like that? And not ever for 1 minute compare or consider that I didn't have to lay it all down to do it. Oh man, I had to lay it all down. We don't have a TV in our downstairs at all. It has prevented people from coming over on Sunday dinner, which we used to have a lot, because they can't watch football. What a shame, right? You won't trade football for family. You won't trade football for authentic conversations. You won't trade football for a meal, breaking bread together. Why? Why? Is it an idol? We talked about false idols last week. Is it a false idol in your life? Has it superseded your intentionality in freedom and joy? Do you think you're actually extracting joy from the football game? Watching somebody else stand in their gifting? I'm all for camaraderie, and I am not anti-football. I'm also not anti-TV. But what are you fueling your body? What are you fueling your mind? Words have weight. Oh, I already ordered it this morning, Ryan. I saw your post on that. It was awesome. My marriage can always use an infuse, everybody's cans, and I can't wait to get that resource specifically for some people who I have on my heart when it comes to marriage and intimacy. Yeah, I'm breathing through it. So for all of those on Clubhouse who cannot see me right now, I should provide the link up at the top, but you can also get it in my bio. I am live and breathing heavy because I am Peloton and preaching over here, and it is so fun. Kelly, I'm proud of you for taking that TV off the wall. Again, in order to be the influencer, you have to be doing something that is subculture, counterculture. We are called to be peculiar people. This is a biblical reference. Peculiar means we stand out. We're oddballs. We're doing something different than what everybody tells you to do. We're not watching Sunday night football, not because we don't celebrate football and the talents that they are and the gifts that they are, but there are things that are over top of that area of influence that are more important to us. And so the music thing is really what I want to talk to, because music and sound, to me, are literally a direct line to heaven. There are incredible musicians in the world. So talented, so fearless. They're willing to take the mic. They're willing to move on camera. They're willing to put their entire expression of life on the line for other people. And I know that it's a God gifting. But when they're being influenced by a territory, an enemy that is contorting their expectations of what is good, what is righteous, what is holy, what is noble, we are called to think about such things, right? Whatever is pure, holy, noble. I know I'm saying it out of order, but this is a biblical reference as well. And I don't want the next generation or the generation right now or the generation before me, I don't want people to be distracted or presume that the reason that they're feeling the way that they do, the reason that they're depressed on a Monday morning, the reason that they're overwhelmed, the reason that they're unable to get clear in their mind, to get clear from the bondage, to get clear from the heartache and the heartbreak, is because they're listening to music or they're watching TV and they're infiltrating garbage. We know this, garbage in, garbage out. And yet we think mindless anything, mindless scrolling, social media should surely be on this entertainment mountain, that it is healing anything. It's so far from. It's so far from. It literally breaks my heart. And so you listening to country music, that was my shtick for a very long time. I had the mega music pass that came through to our outdoor amphitheater, and I knew every line to every song. Every line to every song. And I'm sure from a young age, because Reba McEntire was in my house since I was a baby, right? And there's this one song, is there life out there? So much I don't know, right? That's my mom, my sweet Mama B, listening to these words as her husband is out to sea, as she's raising 3 tiny humans, as she's completely isolated in a city where she has no family, no help, no support. What is that song line doing to her mind and heart? It's putting her in a place of yearning for a destination that is not hers, for a position that God has not put her in, for a truth that is not hers. And so she is cluttered and chaotic in spirit because she's yearning for her feet to be somewhere they're not meant to be. That's one small example that just came to my spirit. And it's the knowing, y'all, I'm struggling over here. Let me get honest with you. I'm good on resistance. I'm over cadence. And that means I'm going faster than the Peloton is going to tell me to go. But I'm struggling. I'm struggling because I look around me and I see that on the top of the mountain, the people who are claiming that territory are talented musicians, maybe even Christian musicians who feel the need to taunt based on the clothes that they wear, based on the energy that they're extracting from people, based on the territories in which they're going. And I need you to know that you're an influencer. You're not an influencee. Do not for 1 second take for granted the artistic ability within you. The artistic ability to speak, to perform, to make people laugh, to encourage people. The gift of sound. If you can sing, sing. It doesn't matter how good you are. That pulls me to this verse in this book. And a verse in the book. It's a verse in the Bible in regards to joy. Because I don't know about you, but when I'm standing in a place where I am meant to be standing, when my gifting, my natural gifting, I'm not striving, I am not doing anything outside of the norm of what I am talented to do. And the people who are alive with me right now, I know you're talented. I see you, I've watched you operate, and you don't get into that place of operation enough. And I don't know why. I'm not sure what's holding you back or who's holding you back or what maybe in the media celebration realm is distracting you. But I believe when you're standing in that gifting, you're experiencing freedom and joy from heaven simultaneously. And it says it right here. Psalm 16:11. You will show me the path of life. In your presence is fullness of joy. At your right hand are pleasures forevermore. He will show you. Ask and seek and you will find. He wants to unfold your yellow brick road. Are you asking him why you don't have enough joy? Are you getting quiet enough? Are you shutting out the celebration mountain that the world is utilizing as a crutch? Is it sports? Is it music? Is it mindless TV? Is it mindless fuel that you think is motivating you? You know, for a long time I went to an incredible gym, a women's gym that inspired me, that moved me from complacency and my physicality at the time, post babies. They were such a crutch and a support for me at the same time. And I think people need to know that there are seasons in which you can transition, because for a long time they were a support. They were exactly what I needed. And then they became a crutch because it got too easy. Because I felt convicted in my spirit that showing up there, working out, and listening to the music that was on the airwaves was not serving my spirit. That the connectivity of the humans in the room were not propelling me higher. That the time frame in which I was devoting to go to the place and be there was not actually serving the kingdom at large. And while my body was checkmarked, my spirit was X'd. And so Peloton, insert Peloton and Preaching right now. That's why I sound like this. And I had such a hesitancy. I was like, this thing hurts my crotch. I don't know how people do this. I hate spinning. Why do people do this? It's horrible. It's real. This is real. Not comfortable until you get to a place where you work past the pain and you recognize that the silence of the space is actually what you need, not the music that's creating negative thoughts in your head. It's a Jezebel spirit. If you don't know Jezebel, look her up. They don't know if she was an actual human or just a demonic expression of the enemy. But I've heard this name many, many times in my life since becoming a Christian, where people are saying there's a Jezebel spirit over top of sexuality, over top of humans in regards to everything in the celebration realm. And essentially it's pulling us away from the thought life that God calls us to. It says, lean not on your own understandings, in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. I know that one. But it says to think about such things, all the noble, holy, righteous. Is it noble, holy, and righteous to be grinding and grooving, apple bottom jeans, boots with the fur? I know all the words. And that should tell you something. Where did I spend my time in my 20s? Where was my thought life, sex life, prayer life, intimacy life, relationship life, body life, mind life? All of it was distracted, deterred, and I was the influencee. But when I came to stand on a righteous path, when I came to experience joy and joy to the full, when I came to gift life as God gifted me life and be a conduit for people to recognize that you can do something different. 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 You do not have to do it like everyone else. You do not have to show up where they need you to show up. If you are called to show up somewhere different, somewhere different, somewhere different. I am not on repeat, y'all. I am saying it over and over again so it seeps into your soul that you are called to be the influencer of your territory. You are called to be a peculiar person, people. It says people. We are called to be a peculiar people. That means we are not ordinary. It says this right here, and it spoke to me. I think it will speak to you too. I hope I can find it. Oh, where is it? It's talking about being ordinary in the extraordinary, and extraordinary in the ordinary. To go from experiencing natural excellence like I was doing in the gym. That was excellent, right? Look at those guns. It was excellent that I was waking up at 4:30 and going to the gym and doing the thing that most culture can't. But the spirit of excellence is different. The Holy Spirit summons you to a higher ground. The Holy Spirit comes in like a breath of wind and also like a holy fire, meaning he will breathe life or he will extract life. He will burn it all to the ground and he will breathe back new growth inside of you, new opportunity inside of you, new joy inside of you. You will become a babbling brook for other people, but you have to stand in position of your gift and talent. You have to be okay with looking like the oddball. You have to be okay not to have a TV in your main living room or your downstairs at all. You have to be okay that your kids don't have devices. My kids have devices that are accessed through us, but not their own. Let me clarify and be transparent. Do you understand? Do you understand? We don't want lazy, anointed Christians. Who's that speaking to? You're anointed, friend. I know this about you. I'm confident in it. And yet I believe you're complacent. I believe you're lazy because you're distracted. I believe you're not going to the height that you can because you're making excuses that you're unable or that nobody has done it before, and so how can I? Or that the person who is above you, who has gotten there faster than you, who has had and sold the records and you haven't, who has preached on stage and you haven't, who has the successful podcast that you don't have. The only thing between you and them, the anointing is the same, is their action. They've activated. And even in that activation, you cannot decipher what they're fueling themselves with and or what they're actually feeling inside. Because most people on their reels, in their highlight segment, in their clubhouse room, they're not telling you the truth. They're telling you their version of the truth. They're telling you the forefront, the mask of their truth. They're 7, 8, 9 figure earners. I'm all for business. I'm all for success. I'm all for their companies generating that much money, but how much are you taking home? How much joy are you actually experiencing outside of your dancing reel and smile and laughter and family photos and kissing your hubby? You want to talk real, get intimate with your community. Be odd. Be okay to get sad and frustrated before the Lord even. He wants you to experience every component of his identity. And in order for you to do that, you have to be raw. Not in front of the mirror, in front of your Father. And I'm saying that with a deep weight in my soul. Because I have a dad who I have not an estranged relationship with. We were just in church together yesterday. Love him dearly. But we don't see eye to eye. We're not on the same page because I know he fuels his mind with politics. I know he fuels his mind with things that are not of heavenly descent. That he is anointed and called and talented. And yet he is a lazy, anointed Christian. You want raw and real, I'll tell you right here on social media. And I'm not afraid if he sees this. My dad, here's a story. He worked out, and I'm probably going to get this wrong. He worked out like 389 days in a row one year. Year over. Maybe even longer. Felt like 2 years. He never didn't work out. No rest day. Not lazy. That would be the antithesis of lazy, right? He was running at least 3 miles a day. I saw him leave a party, a summer pool party, in the middle of a torrential downpour where everyone came inside because it was raining. And he proclaims he's going on a run. Mind you, at the time, one of the fuel components of joy, for him still, for me not, was alcohol. So he goes running while intoxicated, and he comes back and people are celebrating that. He could have fallen, he could have hurt himself, and he's done it many times, fallen and hurt himself. And yet we celebrate fitness, we celebrate body strength, we celebrate endurance of our veterans, of our war heroes, of those who can do great feats. And yet, we can't call them higher because we're not confident enough to speak into their lives or to be the example for them. So I don't drink. I haven't drank for almost 2.5 years, almost 3 years in May. And I didn't tell him he can't not drink, but boy, would I love that. And he does know this, all of this. It's actually some of it which is in my book, Always Becoming, where I bear it all, sex, shame, and love. By the way, I'm not standing up or going at different paces because my Peloton was over 10 minutes ago and I am still here. Peloton and preaching, because this is so important. Your joy, your position is limited by your fuel. It's limited by celebration that is being deterred and demonized. And these words sound so Christian. I hate it. It sounds religious. Let me say it that way. It sounds religious. It sounds impossible. It sounds, she's speaking about the enemy again. I was my own enemy. I was my own enemy. I let myself listen, choose, watch, speak to, speak of. What goes in the heart comes out. What goes through your eyes comes out. What goes in your ears comes out. What goes in your mouth comes out. It cannot stay anywhere, and it is not mindless. Be the influencer, not the influencee. Be a leader. Do not be a lazy, anointed anything. Do not sit in natural excellence. Use the spirit of excellence. What you're naturally gifted in is great. It's amazing. But what if you can go higher? What if there's a spirit that draws you further? Oh, man. So I wanted to share in regards to my son, in regards to my daughter, which is how I started this conversation, about a 9-year-old little girl. A little girl who lived more lifetimes than I think I have, even with all the things that I've walked through. She was born in 1994, and when she was 9 years old, she was on the Oprah show, and her whole life changed. But up until that point, for 9 years, she was living ostracized, outcast. Bye, Ryan. Thank you so much, brother. Thanks for being here. November 17th, the cloud lifted and the sun came out. God had my back and he lifted me from that state. Praise Jesus. Praise Jesus. God was doing a mighty thing in those couple of years. He still is. But man, I'm always amazed to hear how connected storylines are in years. Probably similar to this story right here. So this gal, she was literally destroyed by her community. She was told she wasn't good enough by everyone, even her family, except for her mom. She was poor, really poor. They all, 5 siblings and 2 parents, had one bed. They had barely any food. They were self-educated. There was a lot of destruction. A lot of, from the outside looking in, you would think impossibilities. And I'm sure they felt that way most days. And she was a conduit. She was operating in her spirit of excellence, not her natural excellence. She was not lazy in her anointing. She's an artist, a magical artist. And from the age of 4, she was sharing her visions with her mom to the point that her mom had an entire journal and would just stand there and sit there and scribe out everything she was saying. Because it was like she was living in this fantastical world of vision that was straight from heaven. And her mom kept trying to document and extract it. And in the process, she was painting, miracle working paintings. Unbelievable. They had people coming in from around the country. They had an agent that was working for her that completely stole paintings and millions of dollars, likely at this point. But at 9 years old, they got a break. After firing, actually, that person, Oprah called the next day. And her life changed. Her world changed. Her name is Akine. I might say it wrong. Akine, Akiane. I'll tag her later. But she has this first painting that sold for $10,000 called Prince of Peace. And I went on this rabbit hole experience this morning after reading my devotion and learning about this girl who is now about to turn 30. And she's an unbelievable artist. Absolutely incredible. And that's what she does full time, is her art. And the reason I tell you this in association to my children is that they had a mama. They had the one person. She had the one person in her life who said, keep going. One person, one voice, who would catch the painting that was going into the garbage and uncrumble it and flatten it and file it away. Who, when she threw a massive oil painting out the window during the rainstorm, her mom just coincidentally was walking up and caught it and kept it and spoke life and words of affirmation and truth and goodness and was an example of joy every time she painted. She affirmed her and confirmed her and said, keep going, and would use every bit of money and lack thereof that they had, every penny, every possession, and she would bring life to her little girl's idea. I want to do that for my children. I want to be the one person, but I can assure you that there are people out there who don't have a mama as good as mine, who don't have a dad like mine, who also love and adore and encourage me even from afar. They don't always have to have the words or the proximity to be fuel to your gifting. They were a part of the lineage to your truth. If you have an estranged relationship with your parents, find forgiveness in yourself and know that you are still anointed. You are still called. And that space that you bring so much life to, so much joy to in your artistic ability, whatever it is, whatever way that you create, I want you to explore it again. Do you write? Do you sing? Do you dance? Do you encourage? Do you speak? Whatever it is, do it again. Be an influencer of your atmosphere, not an influencee. Use God's creative spirit to infiltrate joy to other people. And do not let the enemy distract you in the areas of celebration that you think are fun and mindless. Be mindful of every action and every choice on this amazing Monday. I'm getting off this dang bike. It's been 40 minutes. Michelle, I love you. Thanks for being here. Everyone on live, Kelly, you guys are amazing. Thanks for being a sold out community. I love you. Chat soon.